day, beautiful people. It is Tuesday, September 8th. One day after Labor Day, one day before we join the Sirius XM platform on Channel 82, Mad Dog Radio. I wonder how long we will be allowed to bark after saying Mad Dog Radio until Sirius XM tells us to stop. We cannot wait for that. That begins tomorrow. This YouTube show will continue, will remain, but if you're in your car and you're listening anywhere else, listen to us at Sirius XM, Channel 82, Mad Dog Radio. The dynamics of the studio has changed a little bit. Nick Moraldo has gone back to the engine room, which is the back room, because he is a clipping machine. That's why his microphone is always muted, and that's why he yells in the back. He will still have a microphone, but him sitting next to Billy Tubes will expedite the entire operation of getting clips up onto the internet while also clipping them in an efficient fashion.
Well said.
Hey, is that a boy Frankie? That a boy Frankie over there behind the desk because he's always on his computer. At Tone Diggs will remain there. Diggs, how's it feel to be in the cubby hole in the corner over there?
It feels cozy here. Like, I have anxiety issues, but it feels like I'm wrapped in a nice weighted blanket here. It's actually nice. I like it.
At Boston Connor moves off of the casting couch over to the desk here, which is nice because I'll be able to face One Direction, which is really good. One Direction was a good band until Harry Styles got egotistical and wanted to leave. But at Boston Connor, well deserved, by the way.
Yeah, great actor.
How about him in that English movie that they went to war with?
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, yeah. And they didn't even market he was in it, by the way. I went and watched the movie. All of a sudden, handsome Harry Styles shows up in the middle of nowhere. It's like, holy shit.
Wow.
This guy didn't even market it. Good actor.
Great actor.
Good singer. Mm-hmm. But anyways, he was still the reason One Direction broke up. Now I'm looking in One Direction. At Boston Connor, how was your weekend?
Fantastic, Pat. I'm just getting ready for this NFL, baby. Here we go. 2 days. Let's get it going.
At Ty Schmidt is here. Obviously, big news out of Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is the starter for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, good to see that. Good to see that.
Didn't think he'd make it.
We have rather large news with Aaron Rodgers on the horizon. He'll be joining us tomorrow at 1:15. So go ahead and be a friend. Tell a friend about that. And also some other large announcements coming from that conversation, I do believe. All the boys are in the back. Jason, Zito, Foxy, Mr. Mansuri, Nick, and our Canadian friend, Gumpy, has made his way across the board. We're going to add some more shows to our lineup. We're going to be doing a lot more things this fall, although it's going to be mighty different than last fall, where Ty, myself, Foxy, and Zito were on like 6 planes a week for the entire fall. I mean, I don't know how we survived. I gained 45 pounds, but this fall we'll be cooking. We got some more shows coming. We're adding more humans to our lineup. I mean, there is a lot of shit about to pop off, and we can't wait for it. We are very excited. Football season, there's just something about it. And I think a lot of people said this yesterday on Labor Day. When you wake up Labor Day weekend, okay, you know that, all right, the NFL is right there. Yeah. Then on Saturday of Labor Day weekend, we woke up and College Game Day was back on TV. Now, it was much different than College Game Day normally is, but still, College Game Day was on. Then there was some college football games. Fucking blowouts. There was college football games on. Marshall, by the way, might be top 10 team. Yep. I don't know if anybody saw what they did to that FCS school. They got a quarterback out of West Virginia that's playing at Marshall right now. I don't know how he's on at West Virginia University. He's at Marshall. Whatever. He had a fucking massive weekend. Then Army. Blew, just absolutely slaughterhouse the team. Then you got Navy last night just getting hammered by the Mormons out there at BYU. But it was nice to watch the football. I mean, it was really nice to watch the football. Memphis couldn't cover against Arkansas State. Of course they couldn't, although last year they were incredible. But there's football games back. Now Thursday, 2 days from now, we have the Texans and the Chiefs playing the football. Then this weekend, everything kicks off. You got Ryan Fitzpatrick, the New England Patriot killer, the man who has beat the Patriots with every single team in that division, just like Eli Manning, a man who can slay the New England Patriots, is going into New England. I mean, there's storylines on top of storylines, and this week is the week that it all happened. So when I woke up this morning, when I woke up yesterday, man, there was a pep in the step. There really was. It was just a complete different ballgame. Like, okay, don't have to act like we know what's going on in the fucking NBA because we don't, okay? Don't have to act like I understand what's going on in golf because we don't. Don't even have to have conversations about everything that we don't know a lot about, but what we do know a lot about is the football. Yeah. And here we are. I am so pumped for it. I watched that BYU Navy game last night almost until it was over. Listen to Bill Belichick calling him. It was like 40-0 at that point. Bill Belichick was calling in for the Navy, by the way. They were down 40-0, so he had to kind of pivot, and he complimented BYU, but got a chance to listen to him talk. I mean, I'm ecstatic that the football is back. I am just I feel better. My life is better, and I can't wait for this week to get started.
There's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like just the energy. Like when we walked in here today, because it's week 1.
Yeah.
It's unmatchable.
Okay, so college football is back. NFL's coming back, and Labor Day weekend might have been the most expensive weekend in the history of the NFL. Yeah. Contracts were getting thrown out to everybody, and congratulations to a lot of. Oh, by the way, sidebar, please. Yeah! Bingo! NFL handing out money bags. That is real. The NFL handed out so much money this weekend. You can't even think that the NFL, going into an uncertainty economic-wise, nobody knows what the salary cap's going to be next year. Nobody knows how many fans are going to be allowed in stands. Nobody knows if the season's going to be able to finish, because if you look around in college football, which I guess is the only kind of comparison, well, MLB, I guess, would be the best comparison for the NFL. They're already suspending games. Rice is suspended 2 games. Tulsa is suspended 2 games. The MLB had like a 5-team suspension at one point. So the NFL has no idea what's going to happen with the season, how many games are going to happen, how many fans are going to be in there. But these teams are locking players down for big money, and I love every fucking second of it. You can go to Pittsburgh Steelers. They locked down Cam Hayward. I think he got like $77 million or something like that, with $19.5 million coming within the next couple months. I mean, Cam Hayward put out a video saying, I want to be in Pittsburgh. I'm not going anywhere. He got paid. Jadeveon Clowney ended up at the Titans. You're talking about a deal that is worth $12 million up to $15 million. Ooh. And you have to remember, and this is the interesting thing about Jadeveon Clowney, Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports. Yes, Yahoo Sports
still exists.
Still exists.
Really?
Still happening.
Yep.
Website.
Yeah, Yahoo Sports, Charles Robinson, the website. It is, by the way, very nice website.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I don't know how much traffic they get, but it is a very nice website. And a man with a big brain from Yahoo Sports, Charles Robinson, he seems to have the inside source on Jadeveon Clowney. He told us that he thought it was going to be the Browns or the Titans. The Saints, I guess, got into it there at the very end and made something happen for him. But he said that Jadeveon Clowney is going to wait this thing out. He's going to wait until training camp is over. He's okay even turning down a $51 million offer from the Cleveland Browns, allegedly, just kind of pick and choose where he wanted to go. He's now getting in perfectly in line with a team that loves Jadeveon Clowney. Vrabel coached him a couple years ago whenever he was at the Houston Texans. They were like good friends, I guess. Vrabel, everybody knows, is a guy that his players love playing for him. He takes a massive pay cut to go to there instead of the Cleveland Browns. He misses all of training camp. Who knows what he's going to be making after this season? But the Tennessee Titans had the longest run into playoffs out of anybody in the AFC South. Now they get even better. They locked down Derrick Henry. They locked down Ryan Tannehill. They got Jadeveon Clowney. Are the Tennessee Titans a fucking problem now that they got Jadeveon Clowney? I think we have to ask that real question.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not that they weren't last year. I mean, Jadeveon, they were a pretty big weapon last year. They stopped the Baltimore Ravens. But this is a big-time play. And there's an alleged story that the Saints were attempting to have another team pick up Jadeveon Clowney for $15 million a year or something like that. Like $5 million signing bonus, $10 million salary. So they're going to have another team do that. Then they were going to trade the team for Jadeveon Clowney with a second-round draft pick and only have to pay him the $10 million. So that other team would essentially be paying $5 million for a second-round draft pick, which, I mean, if you look at it that way, not that terrible of a decision, but there comes a lot of trust in that. And the team that was allegedly going to do that with him, with the Saints, was the Cleveland Browns?
Yep, the Browns.
Where did you hear that information?
That was on CBS Sports, and that was right below that was talking about the next team, the Ravens and the Jags.
Okay, so they were allegedly going to have the Cleveland Browns sign Jadeveon Clowney for $15 million. Jadeveon Clowney allegedly turned down the Cleveland Browns' 3-year, $51 million offer. So the Saints were going to trust that, and Jadeveon Clowney was going to trust that the team that attempted to sign him for 3 years, $51 million, he said no to, was going to sign him for $15 million, $5 million signing bonus, $10 million salary. And then they were just going to say, yeah, cool, we'll go to the Saints because we'll take the second round. That's a lot of trust. I don't know if I would be able to do that. I guess the NFL said, no, you can't do that because now you're just buying basically draft picks, which we can't have happen. That can't set a precedent. So he ends up at the Titans with a deal up to $15 million because the Saints weren't going to be able to pay that, and the Browns were just going to trade it for the pick. But that's a very, very interesting. That type of shit doesn't happen in the NFL pretty often, I don't think, because nobody trusts anybody, especially that team the Browns Saints, like what is their connection? I wonder. That's a very interesting dynamic there.
Do you think they look at the Browns, and because I believe they have them and the Jags are the two teams with the most cap space, like that's why they pick the Browns as the partner. Like, hey, we'll give you a draft pick for you take on $10 million in cap or $5 million in cap, whatever it is. But like your point, they wanted Clowney.
Yeah, bad. A 1-year deal, allegedly. Now, this is all shit that we've heard from Charles Robinson. Allegedly, a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, and a 3-year deal worth $17 to $18 million per, which is $51 million at the bottom of that. It could be, obviously, $54 million if you do the extra, $55 million, I guess, because an extra million every single time. But up to $55 million offer for him. And they, but we will sign you for 15, but then we're going to trade you for 10, and we'll keep the 5, and we'll carry the 2, and actually we will carry the 2. It'll be a second-round draft pick. That's a very interesting. And by the way, if Andrew Berry is making these money moves and can set away his personal feelings at all from the Cleveland Browns guy from the Colts, he's like, all right, so what are you pitching us right here, Mickey Loomis? You want us to do what? Sign him $15 million because that's what he wants. He wants $15 million. Then you trade him to us. We pick up the salary. You pick up the signing bonus. You get a second-round draft pick. You'll take a $5 million second-round draft pick, right? Isn't that something you would take? Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Oh, fuck it. All right, let's do it. Go ahead and send it through. And Roger Goodell looks at this and goes, you sons of bitches! Taking advantage of the system. Can't do it.
And what stops the Browns from not trading Clowney when they have a bunch of cap space? And what worst-case scenario, Clowney sits out? And then it just fucked over the Saints.
And then what if they play good football and all of a sudden week 8, Jadeveon Clowney wants to play? Yeah. Like what if they're like potentially in the hunt and he's like, I see Myles Garrett there and now he wants to get in there. Oh, we can. By the way, we can extend you exactly what we had before. That's what I'm saying. It takes a lot of trust to just be like, yeah, that team's going to do this and then we're going to do this and then we're going to get our guy and then that's going to happen. It's like, well, now you're relying on somebody who is competing against you. I mean, AFC, NFC, 2 different, I guess, conferences, but still in the ballpark of this with a player that you wanted at one point. I mean, that is just that's a very interesting thing, and I like that people are making these types of moves. By the way,
I get if the Ravens were going to do it with the Jaguars, that makes a lot more sense because the Jaguars aren't trying to win. They're not going to try to keep Clowney because that might actually help them win games. But in the Browns, same situation, that's completely different.
That's a lot of trust.
Makes no sense. And if it was only on a 1-year deal, he'd want to prove it, so he would want to play if he was in Cleveland.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's other people that got paid as well. Desean Watson got broken off. I mean, Desean Watson made a shit ton of money this weekend. Congratulations to him. I don't know if anybody else saw the press conference that he had where his family came in. He was bawling and crying. I mean, what a moment for that entire family. You know that he grew up, I believe, in a house that was given to him by
Warwick Dunn.
Yeah. So like this is such a rags to riches, just such an incredible, there's a lot of those in the NFL, by the way, a lot of those in every profession, but just a full circle story coming together for Desean Watson. Incredible run last year at the end of the year. Can he be the guy that he was in those massive moments last year all the time? Can he be the guy without DeAndre Hopkins who can do the things that Desean Watson was able to accomplish in those moments that didn't feel as if he was going to be able to accomplish? Is Desean Watson the guy? Bill O'Brien said yes. $177 million deal, 111 in guarantees allegedly. Other than Patrick Mahomes' 12-year deal, this is the largest total contract as well as guarantee in NFL history, says Adam Schefter. Good for him. He's getting like $40 million a year. Everybody said it was going to be in the Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers range, which would be like $35 million. They bumped that up to $40 million. Now the immediate question obviously goes, instead of just celebrating Desean Watson and saying congratulations, and then there's people that were like, this is the best deal that has happened this offseason, not the $500 million deal, because those people are seeing the next couple of years. Desean Watson accounts for a lot more of the salary cap and a lot more money than Patrick Mahomes does. But it's $322 million and some change less than Patrick Mahomes' deal. Yeah. So I think anybody that's saying that Desean Watson got a better deal than Patrick Mahomes here, I think is looking at it in the wrong fashion. I don't know. They're going to like, well, he'll get re-upped again in 4 years. Okay, is he going to get $322 million in his next deal? I mean, maybe. I don't know. But if that's not the case, are we still at the, he's going to be able to get re-upped that next one. Okay, so 12 years from now, he'll be able to get that deal. All right, got it. I don't know how that works, but I'm happy for Desean Watson. He loses his best weapon. He gets his deal, but now everybody turns their attention to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott. So Patrick Mahomes got $500 million. Desean Watson just got $40 million a year, basically $177 million. Dak Prescott was asking for $40 million a year. Everybody said that was crazy. Now Desean Watson got it. The one thing that Desean got it, yeah, you get it. The one thing that Desean Watson has by the way, that Dak doesn't? It's what, a bunch of playoff wins?
Yeah, he kind of won that Bills game, that comeback last year when he took on 2 defenders head on to make the play. Like,
they're calling him Magic Man.
Yeah.
There was a magician out there. Michael Jordan coming out of college. I feel like if Dak Prescott has another good year, somebody's going to pay him. But I don't know if – I mean, Dak had a fucking hell of a year last year. They just stunk at football. And when the more stories you hear coming out of Dallas about, for instance, their practice field is visible to thousands of people. I mean, there may be, you just can't win in Dallas with the way things. Maybe you just can't win in Dallas. Maybe that's why Mike McCarthy has no jersey numbers, no names on anything. We're going to try to have just a little bit of a surprise for motherfuckers instead of them just watching our entire practice. Maybe Dak's in a bad situation. Deshaun Watson's in a better situation. I don't know. Feels like Dak's got a lot of weapons around him. Deshaun doesn't. But I feel like Dak felt pretty justified after watching Deshaun Watson sign this deal.
Deshaun also has to play for Billy O. Stooge. So, I mean, he really is at a massive disadvantage, you know? Seriously.
Well, and Dak, though, I mean, he was playing for the Clapper.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I mean, Dak has yet to play for a guy that people...
No,
go ahead.
Yeah, please. You can say it.
I was getting pretty toxic. Respect as a head coach.
There it is.
I don't know if anybody respects Jason Garrett as head coach. And I'm not saying, by the way, if what we're learning from Mike McCarthy taking the numbers off and the names off because you can't get any privacy at practice, I mean, maybe Jason Garrett doesn't deserve all the amount of shit that he gets. But in my eyes, I mean, this is the first time Dak gets to play for like a guy who's won.
A good coach.
Who's won as a head coach.
Does this start a chain reaction now that, like, because we always say, we always talk about how if you're the next deal, you have to be more than the last deal, and he wasn't more than Mahomes, so he probably looked and like, hey, I technically don't deserve much as Mahomes. Now does Dak look and be like, obviously Dak probably thinks he's better than Watson, but a lot of people don't. Does Dak look?
I don't know.
Does Dak like, all right, 37-38's my number?
Well, now you're getting into a very interesting game there, because then it's like case by case. Did Deshaun Watson look at the Patrick Mahomes deal and go, you won a Super Bowl and an MVP, I get it, I'll take less than him? I hope so, because that would be very cool. And it seems like that is something that Deshaun Watson would do, a little self-awareness. But I don't think self-awareness is in the game of trying to get as much money as possible. And that's why Dak signed the agent he signed. I guess the agent that Dak signed with is the guy who's like, gouge him for every single thing you got, which I respect, by the way. Get as much money as you possibly can. But I think the Texans are really happy that Deshaun Watson's agent didn't try to put up the same fight that Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Well, you got to think, though, if he was with Andy Reid, what would happen? What if he had Tyreek Hill? I mean, agents are always spinning to try to get as much money as possible.
At this point, like Dak says, like his fire's burned, he's ready to go. But is there any way he re-signs with the Cowboys?
I think so. Hey, money cures all, man.
True.
There's a lot of hard feelings that can be wiped away with one little... Oh, I no longer hate you.
Do you think?
I think that happens on a very regular
number.
Do you think because they've put him through the ringer so much, though, that he's going to tax them like crazy when that time does come?
I think the league is taxing him now as the contracts are going up. Like, I think Deshaun Watson has already taxed Jerry Jones. And I think other quarterbacks deals that have been done have taxed Jerry Jones. And Patrick Mahomes, I think, has taxed Jerry Jones. I think the longer they wait, this is what everybody said, they could have got the deal done before last year.
Right.
This year they waited. Now they're waiting again. It's like the number's only going to go up. And the more you kick the can down the road, at some point you got to pick that thing up and realize there's a shit ton of money in that thing. What's going on, Dick?
Also, with Dak, I think he realizes the power of being the Cowboys' starting quarterback, that he's not going to get the endorsements deals and stuff like that, probably that he will in Dallas, other places.
Oh, so you're saying Houston, third largest city in America, or fourth largest city in America, not as good at marketing as Dallas?
No.
Whoa.
Well, when it comes to Cowboys.
Whoa, dude.
Whoa.
What are you talking about, dude?
Jeez, dude.
Everyone knows. If you look at the fan bases, I believe the Cowboys is much larger.
Oh, wow.
What are you talking about?
Toxic tone. It's H-Town.
That's my bad.
And you know what it is.
For a fact.
Shout out Mike Jones, by the way. What up, dude?
Who?
Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike Jones.
Who?
He lied a few times in that song, you know.
What do you mean?
American Dream album and movie on its way. At the end of that song,
yeah.
I don't think we ever saw the album or the movie.
Still in production.
And by the way, I respect that Mike Jones. That song did so well, he got a little comfortable. I think he did become an actor at some point.
Yeah, he was not Breaking Bad. Prison Break.
281-330-8004. Hit Mike Jones up on the low because Mike Jones about to blow. Here we are 15 years later, by the way. That song is still implanted in everybody's mind that was around back then, and the phone number. And Mike Jones maybe joins this show at some point.
Oh,
Really?
I believe Mike Jones and I did have a situation yesterday where we kind of, we had a, so this is going to be something. If I'm controlling the music, this is going to become something. Because how do I tell Jay to turn up the fucking sound on the music?
Yeah.
Oh. I think just doing this every time is pretty cool.
Yeah, but then that completely defeats the purpose of being able to easily do the music. I think maybe keep it low.
Yeah.
I think it'd be low, and then as it plays,
when you hear it,
you kind of got to do it.
yeah, push it up.
Fade her up.
Yeah, fade her up.
Mike Jones was trending on Twitter yesterday, though. I was pumped for that guy. And I think I played a pretty big hand in it.
1,000%.
I'm pretty excited about that. That guy and I had 2-3 summers together, I think, with one song. With one song.
All you need is one.
That's all you need is one. All right, we're going to get to a break 20 minutes after the hour. A lot of shit to cover. College football, we kind of covered it already. A lot of blowouts, but this weekend, this weekend,
Yeah!
Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and the boys travel down to Wake Forest for prime time ESPN college football. College Game Day will be there. Will I be on game day?
Woo! Will you?
I don't know. This guy's a lion. There's a lot of shit to talk about. And big news out of Pittsburgh for the brand. We'll talk about that. This one, I don't like that it got on here.
Oh, it smells.
And it really feels like these middle ones are where Zito just tries to slip shit in. There's a big alleged story here that I think is probably a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? This guy's had a hell of a run here, like 19 million in the last month. A lot to talk about. Can't thank you enough. We'll also do some YouTube questions. Phone lines are back open tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Can't wait to get to those. We can't thank you enough for listening and watching. We're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College Game Day is absolutely electric. And Brookings,
College Game Day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who was my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn. Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not what we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. He's Daniel Russo.
Wax on, wax off, knee to the face.
World Series.
Go, yes.
These teams stick with that 15. They celebrate by doing shotguns. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm going with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! I will never, ever in the history of my life cut against that ball. Oklahoma State was the way here. Not so fast again.
But I'm going with Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. Look at this crowd. They've been out here since 4 a.m. College Game Day comes to town. They lose their mind. The population population of the state is about 800,000. And when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Elementary school. They might be the Jackrabbits, but they're the goats today. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State with the win.
Give me that place in. No. Don't do that. No. No. Leave. Coach.
has the hat says it be.
No.
I told you I came on your radio show that we were going to get you on College Game Day.
Not only are you incredibly intelligent and handsome, you're a man of your word. You picked North Dakota today, so I had to bury you.
That's okay.
But it's been nothing but incredible. The College Game Day crew is hospitable. In South Dakota State, I think we can all agree, they showed up here.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I've watched the show, obviously, forever. And it's on in every single NFL locker room. I told you that. So this is a big-time deal for me, my family, my friends.
All right. I'm back in the day here. Appreciate you, boys.
It's from the training room at the Colts. AJ Watt tweeted. Text from every human that I've ever done television with, like since way back in the day. They're like, we knew this day would come. Equipment managers, old teammates. I mean, you don't get to trend on Twitter often anymore. They make it damn near impossible. Go up onto a stage with a couple legends, talk some shit in front of the incredible South Dakota fans. What an awesome opportunity. Yeah, I think so. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, Tuesday, September 8th. Also in the handing out money bags world in the NFL. Desean Watson got paid. Cam Hayward got paid. Keenan Allen got paid. 4 years, $80 million, $50 guaranteed. DeAndre Hopkins and Alvin Kamara are allegedly very close in negotiation. We'll talk about Alvin Kamara here in a second. And Tre'Davious White, 4 years, $70 million, $55 million guaranteed for the Buffalo Bills. All in total, the amount of money that was given out this weekend by the NFL was
About $330 million.
Let's go. I hope the players get all that fucking money. Go ahead and take in. I hope everybody gets a $500 million deal. By the way, which I heard isn't even that good of a deal anymore. Somebody said. That's unbelievable.
Does this screw the teams that were like, pandemic, we don't know what the salary cap's going to be next year. Can't pay anybody.
You know, it's very interesting because I guess, who told us? It might have been Lombardi or somebody else. Michael Lombardi, former GM, pretty well dialed in. He said that some teams are being told by the owners to fucking go ahead and keep it straps on a little tighter on the money bags. Go ahead. We don't know what the future's going to hold. Okay, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to play any games. And hell, we can barely pay the bills now. Go ahead and tighten it down. Go ahead and tighten it down. Can't spend any money. But then you got these other teams that are like, yep, go ahead. Let's lock these guys down.
Take this.
Let's go ahead and let them know. I assume there's a force majeure in all these contracts, which means if the seasons aren't played and if the contract I'm sure there's a lot of different clauses in shit of that nature whenever the world shuts down for a while for the first time. I think that has changed every single contract going forward. Even the guaranteed money, I would assume, has the chance to be delayed or suspended if something happens in the world where sports are stopped again. I could be wrong. But I also could be a person that just had to negotiate like 7 deals in the middle of this thing. So I would assume that is carrying into the NFL world as well.
Did you have that type of clause in your contract, or is that new now with the pandemic?
Yeah, I think the pandemic, the world sports stoppage that nobody could have expected, I think is changing sports contracts. And TV deals too, by the way.
Yeah.
TV and leagues are probably changing the way their deals are done. Leagues and players are probably changing the way their deals are done. They're probably like, hey, here we go. This is the money. Unless something happens, we can delay a little bit. You'll still get the money. We just don't know when you'll get it. What if these turn into a bunch of Bonilla contracts? Like all these guys that got paid because games somehow can't happen. And like Keenan Allen's getting paid until like 2065.
Yeah.
So you're still getting your $50 million guarantee. Like we did not lie about that, but just the way we're giving it to you because world stop again somehow because there was another fucking COVID murder hornet that came through. I mean, I would assume that that language is being added into contracts. For me, it was, You get hurt doing something that isn't football, your contract can be voided. If you do something that is blah, 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 your contract can be voided. But now I think every single contract that involves sports and anything that revolves around sports, including shows, gambling, television, probably athletic trainers, I was in everybody, there's some sort of clause in there that's like, hey, if sports stop again, which is possible, I guess, because Tulsa, Rice already delaying games, Big Ten, who knows if there's any sign of them coming back. If any of that happens, we have to figure it out, just like Under Armour got out of the UCLA deal. So I assume that is getting added into everything.
And some teams also don't really give a shit, like the Saints, and they're just paying everybody and just, fuck it, we'll worry about it later.
But not going to pay $15 million to David. We'll pay 10. Listen, we can't get you all 15. All right, we can get you 10. That's what we got slotted in. Let me give a call up to Cleveland real quick. Cleveland will pay you 5. We'll pay you 10. That's 15. They get a second. How about that? David Clowney's like, fucking cool. You can work there. Go ahead and make that happen. I'm surprised he didn't end up at the Saints. It had to be because of his relationship with Vrabel.
Well, and I saw too. I think he fired Bus Cook. I think he fired his agent. So do you?
When was that? He did.
Over the weekend.
Was that after we? Was that after we said to Charles Robinson with a very? He gave up $51 million for now this.
It was on like Saturday or Sunday, I think.
Oh, that makes sense. By the way, Charles Robinson, Yahoo Sports guy, he told us that was Jadeveon Clowney's idea. You know why? Probably because Bus Cook is potentially Charles Robinson's. Because you never know who's getting the information from who. I'll tell you what, if I fucked up a $51 million deal because I thought there was potentially something else on the horizon and that never came, I'd be saying that it was somebody else's idea too. But maybe it was Davion Clowney's idea. We don't know. We'll ask Charles Robinson next time he comes on. Is Bus Cook your source? Well, I can't give up my sources. Well,
bingo.
We're going to talk about his business real quick then, and you just tell us how you feel about it. Did he fuck over Jadeveon Clowney? Because if he fired his agent, I would assume that it was potentially because the math he was doing on the things he could have had versus what he's getting offered now.
Right.
And even though he made like $100 million from Puma before he even stepped foot on the field, $51 million, if that is actually what was given to him, $51 to $55 million over 3 years with the Cleveland Browns. If that was actually offered and now he's at 12 to 15, I think it's a savage move. Like, hey, you do whatever you got to do. But whenever you look at that over, like from a 30,000 foot view, you got to be like, I mean, the Browns look pretty fucking good, too. And I'm going to get $55 million live in Ohio. You know what type of house you're going to
They got Myles Garrett.
Now, Nashville's awesome. Listen, Nashville, the Titans, awesome team. Vrabel, very cool. I assume that culture is electric down there. We like a lot of the people on that team. I understand it. But if you look at football for what it is, which is a business, the NFL, for what enough football, by the way, backyard football is not a business, okay? that is a sanctuary out there. That is, high school football is not a business, even though people are making money. That is not a business, okay? That is a sanctuary. But NFL is a business. Whenever you look at it that way, I wonder if that's a decision that ultimately led him to saying, well, I got to figure out a new fucking business approach. Let's get rid of this agent guy.
Well, also, the Spot Track salary cap and contract site, Saints are dead last in salary cap. They have $642,000 left, so they would had to done quite a restructured deal with somebody. And then also,
how much do they have?
$642,000.
So they're allegedly right now working a deal with Alvin Kamara. They say they're pretty close to a deal after there was a bunch of drama. There was a bunch of drama that came out of New Orleans Saints camp, which isn't normal, by the way. Aside from the Drew Brees situation where he did the interview and the entire team seemed to be imploding on itself, as the world was as well, they've gotten past that. That culture down there seems to be one that's pretty tight. You don't hear a lot of drama or controversy. That is not something that I think the Saints are known for, especially for a team that's as mature and as veteran as they are and a team that's been there, done that. The last couple years have been tough outs out of the playoffs. And who knows how long Drew Brees is going to play for. But whenever it came out that Alvin Kamara was unexcused absent from 3 days worth of things, and then you heard mixed reports like, well, he wasn't actually unexcused. It was, and then he said, I wasn't anywhere, I was there. It was very weird because if somebody's not there, it's very obvious. Mm-hmm. So if people in the building are like, that's not true. And then people outside the building are like, no, our sources are saying it's true. It's like, well, then there's some miscommunication somewhere. And we think what it was once we put on our handy-dandy spy glasses and kind of dove a little deeper, our in-depth glasses that we like to put on. I think what had happened was, you see, the Saints wanted to test out Alvin Kamara's back. So it is now being reported that he went and got an epidural for his back, which I didn't know what that was. I guess that's what pregnancy people get, and it kind of makes you lose feeling from middle of the back down to like mid-thigh. So I don't know if it's as strong as a pregnancy epidural. I don't think I fully understand what an epidural is, but I think what was happening, if the Saints and the Alvin Kamara team were negotiating a long-term deal, let's say they're in the middle of it, I think Insider was, I forget which Insider reported that it was unexcused absence, but that reporter then knows that they're currently negotiating a deal. So then if you hear that a player isn't in the building, you automatically would put 2 and 2 together and say, oh, this must be because business went bad. But what if it was because business was actually heating up and the Saints said, we would like to know more about what this is, though. So maybe you go get those tested real quick, get an epidural, get it tested for a couple of days before we finish this deal. But they didn't tell everybody in the building that that is what was happening because nobody wants it to get out that you just signed a guy to a lot of money who potentially has a back problem. So I think there was maybe a cover-up happening for him not being in the building, but not telling everybody. And I think the person that wasn't told was potentially the source to the person that said it was an unexcused absence. So if they're trying to negotiate a long-term deal, which everybody says they're being close to and they're figuring it out, and then once you list off the litany of stats that Alvin Kamara has, the only running back to have 2,000 rush yards and 2,000 receiving yards are in the amount of time that he has, he's a stud. Obviously, he's a weapon. So if that's how it played out, you could see how that could be a miscommunication. And this goes back to the same thing that's happening with the Big Ten. Some people have sources who are completely out of the loop what the other people's sources are, and it's just mixed messaging coming out. And I think that's why Cameron Jordan, I think that's why the Saints, whenever they were talking about Alvin Kamara potentially being traded and unexcused, that's why they all came out and were like, nah, it's bullshit. Like, that is not true at all. It's very interesting what's happening behind the scenes right now because there's no access for anybody to see anything or hear anything because of COVID-19. Unless it's said on a Zoom call or you can see it across the field, there's really no information to be had, which I would assume NFL teams love until something gets out that you're potentially trying to trade a guy that you're not really trying to trade. You're just trying to check out so you can pay his ass.
And also, if you think about Kamara with the extension going forward, I believe there was a report last week that the Saints will be $71 million in the hole next year as far as cap space. They're already $71 million over.
Hey, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. You know what I mean? We will cross that bridge. How much are we in debt? $71 million next year? Fuck it. We might not even be alive. We might not even be in the league. We'll figure that out next year, Diggs.
Breaking news.
Yo.
The Arizona Cardinals are making star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins the highest paid non-quarterback ever, giving him a 2-year contract extension worth $54.5 million in new money, $27.25 per year.
How much guaranteed?
Hopkins, who did the deal himself, gets $42.75 million guaranteed at signing.
That a boy Nuke! That a boy Nuke! So this was probably a part of him being traded out of Houston as he wanted a longer-term deal. Now, if DeAndre Hopkins is always negotiating his own business and he's walking into Bill O'Brien's office saying, hey, I'd like to negotiate a long-term deal, and Bill O'Brien, for whatever reason, didn't respect him in that way, maybe that's why Bill O'Brien wanted him out of the building because he thought he was in business for himself. Turns out he's just representing himself in business. There's nothing wrong with that at all. He got traded to the Arizona Cardinals. I think everybody assumed there would be some type of negotiation to extend him. Here we go with a big-ass deal, 2-year deal. He'll be able to do this again in 2 years. He'll be able to either stay there as Kyler Murray becomes a stud in the NFL or potentially flattens out. Cliff Kingsbury, who's been in the NFL for 1 year, and by the end of that year kind of seemed to have it figured out. He lives in a drug lord mansion over there. I mean, this could be a perfect fit for that Arizona Cardinal team. 2-year deal. I would assume their salary cap is set up to have a lot of money now instead of in the future because they know they have to pay Kyler potentially. But good for them. Good for DeAndre negotiating this himself. Now, the NFL agents are only allowed to take up to 3% of the money, right? Most agents take 2.5% to 2% because they're lowering their percentage because in competition for other agents that are trying to get you, they make their money off the field shit that they try to negotiate. So him negotiating his own deal only saves him 2 to 3% of that deal, which would have had to go to an agency. But in my eyes, fucking the respect level is just through the roof. Anybody that can handle a negotiation with that magnitude, especially in the world that we're currently in, congrats to Nuke, congrats to the Cardinals. They got an absolute stud. And if Larry Fitzgerald just plays forever, he'll collect $10 million a year for the next 20 years potentially. I mean, good for the Cardinals trying to figure it out. Maybe the Bird Gang out there is really about to get hot and start flocking around the fucking desert a little bit.
When you were in the league, was it common for players to negotiate their own deals or just a new thing?
No. It was like almost looked down upon as if you're an idiot. You know? It was like, oh, you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat. Because there was guys that negotiated their own deals and got beat. And everybody always mocked the player right, for getting beat in the negotiation, but they never talked about how the team was a fucking scumbag in the negotiation, right? And that's always a very interesting, especially now that I am doing a lot of these conversations and being a part of this. Now, granted, I have lawyers and representatives and people that look into the finer details of things, but when you're talking money with people, it is a very interesting conversation, especially when you're talking about yourself and how much your value is, you think. It's just very weird. It's a very weird thing to do, that you kind of have to put aside any personal grudges. You have to be able to put aside, because whenever they counter, you can't get pissed. You have to be able to come back at them, right? So it's like negotiation in and of itself is wild. I mean, you have good negotiators and you have bad negotiators. I mean, that is a very, very real thing. And I think now that guys are starting to take more ownership, I like the fact that teams are taking care of them better as opposed to trying to expose them, which I think was potentially happening in the past when players trying to represent themselves. Is you put in little things down in the bottom, like, oh, on page 13, they won't read this, they won't read this, they won't go through this, they won't go through this. And they're always like heralded as like, good job on the team fucking over the player. Oh, that's why you shouldn't negotiate for yourself. But you remember, all the people that were saying you shouldn't negotiate for yourself are also all friends with the agents that are potentially losing money from players negotiating for themselves. So it's all one big connected group there that's pitching the story and the narrative on the whole thing. Richard Sherman negotiated his own deal. He was mocked heavily. Then he hit every single incentive and got broken off. Now we got Nuke negotiating his own deal. There's been plenty of other guys. I like it a lot, but it takes a special person, because it's not just easy to walk into a building and say, hey, I'm worth $42 million guaranteed. Fucking pay me. I never played a game here, but let's do it.
So,
I mean, that, at some point, Nuke had to say that. At some point, they came back and they're like, how about $35 million guaranteed? And Nuke was like, well, I'm looking around. I'm seeing what this person's making. I'm seeing what this person's making. I think $43 million's good. And they're like, well, how about 42.5, 42.75? Deal. That's how they land on that number, I guess. But you have to be able to do that while talking about yourself without sounding like a fucking asshole, without sounding like you're upset about what they said. It's a very fine balance. I wouldn't have been able to do it whenever I was in the league still, I don't think.
Why is that?
Because, I mean, there were some things that were relayed to me via an agent that I didn't really know well, who was negotiating my deal with Grigson, and I almost went in there and was like, oh, is that right? Like, I couldn't. But now I'm at the point where, you know, I'm in a good spot. See, in the NFL, there's not options. Because if he's signed to the Cardinals, it's not like he can be like, I'm going to go down the road and check out what the Ford Ranger costs down there, and I'm going to go buy the car. Yeah, right. They'll take my server, or they'll take my business for sure. I mean, if you guys don't want to drop to this price, that's right. In the NFL, you're kind of locked in there. So there's no like he can go and be like, well, I can go get this from here to show them that you can do that, which I have had the incredible ability to be able to do. Like, oh, I see this. This is possible. This is possible. Let's go ahead and do that. So I don't know if I could still do what they're doing. That's why what Nuke just did there is so fucking impressive.
Do you think all his run-ins with Bill O'Brien ultimately helped him? Like, because he basically just had he had to do the exact same thing previously. He's like, okay, well now, like, I mean, hopefully this guy's not as much of an asshole, but like I know what I need to do and what I need to say to actually
By the way,
this
think
through.
of Bill O'Brien. Think of Bill O'Brien in there. Okay, the whole world's crumbling on him. Okay, for whatever decision he made that particular week that people were questioning, made to the playoffs last year. I mean, had to lead on the Chiefs at one point, then gave up the lead, and then named himself GM after that. But that him sitting in there, you know, doing whatever he's doing, head coach and GM, that's a lot of shit. Obviously, we're trying to figure out how to win games. And DeAndre Hopkins, you got a moment? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Sit down, Nuke. What do you want to talk about? You don't like that route we have? You? No. I'm thinking $50 million. Think about Bill O'Brien just being like, get this guy the fuck out of here. How do I, Arizona, you want him? Fourth rounder, fucking take it or whatever. That's very interesting if that is. Now, we don't know that. This is me just hypothetically thinking of why this relationship ended the way it did and why there was some drama, but that kind of got squashed quickly between the two. But it didn't really make sense whenever they got rid of Nuke and they kept Desean Watson and they brought in and they gave it like a bag of balls. It didn't really make much sense. But now if you think like he's handling his own business, so he's walking into Bill O'Brien, maybe even after games, I don't know if that's how Desean or Nuke DeAndre Hopkins does business. I assume he's not. I assume he's very professional. He just negotiated a $42.75 million guarantee. That is a savvy businessman. But it is interesting if Bill O'Brien couldn't handle that from a player. And I love it.
Especially if he's walking into he's walking into his office. Hey, by the way, no drops today. I had 8 catches, no drops. just dropping his stats all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be so easy for him.
All right, so I'm looking around the NFL, and I lead in pretty much every stat that matters. So where we were before, we're now up a little bit. I think like another 2 to 3 million. I wish I would. I don't know if that happened, but boy, that'd be fucking awesome if Nuke's just walking in there. Hey, what's up? Saw a game winner today? Me too.
Pretty good.
All right. That's another 2 million. I gotta text you. We gotta figure this out. What's up, Diggs?
So, and the crazy part about this is getting done. He had 3 years left on his contract, so he did a 5-year in 2017 worth $81 million, and he was locked up through 2022. So this locks him up through 2024.
Good for him. Arizona, I don't think they have taxes.
I don't know.
Let's find out.
They keep paying
so.
taxes. Tennessee doesn't. Florida doesn't. Texas doesn't. Arizona does not.
New Hampshire doesn't. Live free or die, baby.
Delaware doesn't.
It looks like Arizona does.
He's out there in the desert. Hey, maybe he's a good golfer. A lot of fucking golfing out there in the desert. That's where all the old whites go, right? They go retired out in the desert. They're in Florida.
Yep.
You want dry heat or wet heat? I think I like the wet. Go to Florida. I like my lips just chapped and it to be 175 degrees.
Best.
Go out to the desert then. Go to great golf courses out there. Go and have a good time. Fox and I went and played in a what's that called? A country club out
Country
there.
club, yeah. It was very nice.
It was wild. That was my first real experience at a country club, by the way.
It's the first
no
Arizona
way.
golf, too. It was awesome.
It was
It's a lot different.
I did not. I don't think I've ever done a country club before. There was a room that was just for the men
Did he show you how?
Wild.
to golf a country club.
Yeah.
Yeah, Foxy was very comfortable. He
Oh,
was
come
throwing
on.
towels
Don't
around.
get this
He was
going.
throwing towels
There's a lot
around.
of breaking news in the NFL.
He was doing this. He was doing this. But there was a men's area.
Yeah, that should not exist.
Like a lounge?
No, men's locker room.
There was
Like
no.
Oh,
It was like
there
a
was a
men's
bar and
restaurant.
TV.
And then their wives and children were out in like the lobby because we walked through that area as well. And we're like, oh, so they just wait out here. And the dudes are probably. That's on me. Did I start that up? I guess I did. That's going to be a little bit problematic. But it was very interesting because I assume the dudes are telling their ladies like, "Oh, we got a lot of business going on in here."
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say which country club we went to, but they weren't doing fucking shit in there. They were
weren't
sitting
doing
there and they
anything.
just walked out. It was very interesting.
We were just told it was very expensive to be a member there.
Yeah, there was a lot of money floating around.
Yes.
That parking lot was, I believe they say, popping.
Stacked to the brim.
Oh, I believe it was.
Looked like a Vegas valet.
It was very, very, very nice. Yeah, it was very, very nice. It was, but I would never fucking do that.
No.
It was very weird. It was very, very weird.
Especially if you're leaving your family at the door. Hey, yeah, sorry. Stay there.
But I don't fully understand what was going on though, because like there was almost like a daycare running outside, but there was nobody watching the kids. They were just kind of running free, and then the men's area, they were just hanging out, playing cards. What?
Really?
I mean, it looked like I guess those dudes have a great time, but it was a very interesting setup.
It's
Great
like a
golf.
fraternity. It's very odd.
It was very, very odd. I gotta go take a shit. Speaking of,
Oh, man.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I.
How about that? Ty and I are on the same page. Thinks it's just a little bit of bullshit. Diggs.
Well, there's not a lot to do in that city, so.
Okay, but he lives in L.A. basically all off season, which I don't think it
Doesn't help.
doesn't change anything in anybody's thoughts. Allegedly, there's a report that took over the internet this morning that I don't even want to talk about because I think it's just a bunch of bullshit. But boy, the internet does that. I mean, the internet, if something is said and it's outlandish enough, it does not matter if that thing gets fact checked. The other side of the story, who cares? Don't want to hear it. Do you want to defend yourself? Too late, pal. We'll get a quote from you tomorrow that nobody will see. That's what, a little bit of a drawback of the internet. But this story, I mean, I woke up this morning, there was, 55,000 tweets about this guy, Odell. I woke up because on the trending page, it'll tell you exactly how many tweets are actually about happening. And who knows if those numbers are accurate. That's why you got to be really worried about who's doing what behind the scenes whenever the number one overall trend has 1,000 tweets, and then the 10 one has 70,000 tweets. It's like, well, who's scratching who's back here to make this happen? And then you see the numbers disappear. You got to question what's going on. Odell was trending this morning when he woke up, and I would assume he did not expect this to happen.
Spreads like wildfire.
And Odell Beckham's never been on this show.
Diarrhea.
Okay, this is not like hey, we're friends with Odell Beckham, but I don't think he deserved what happened to him this morning. I would like it to be known. Just like Ben Roethlisberger didn't deserve what happened to him.
Very true.
Ben Roethlisberger did not deserve what happened to him. He was giving his testimony on Zoom, and then what'd you guys do? And the rest of made a joke out of it. Odell Beckham this morning has seen more Cleveland Steamer, more Cleveland Brine, more number 2, more jokes in his Twitter timeline than he could have ever imagined his entire life. And that guy hasn't even got a chance to say anything about it. It's already been buzzsawed. And there's humans. I didn't want to say his name or what. I wanted to be I wanted to be a part of the action, but not throw anybody under the bus.
Third party.
So my question was, how do you realize you're into that? Like, how do you even get there? Like, by the way, if he's into it, cool. Hey, OBJ, you do what you got to do to get your rocks off and get your nut out. Do what you got to do out there, pal. But I would just like to know how we got here.
Yeah.
Might love the smell of poop. He might have porta potties just lined up around his house.
Well, you guys this morning were like some aficionados.
Oh,
Like, well, in Germany, that's all they do. Nick, that was a fucking Nick line. Nick was like, well, in Germany, you watching German porn, they're just pooping all over each other.
Look it up.
It's nothing sacred anymore.
This guy can't, what he does behind closed doors.
Yeah. You think Big Ben deleted search history after this?
All right.
I just don't like the precedent in a sense.
I don't either. Like,
because it's like at this point now, like these women who are known for just doing this kind of stuff, like, you know.
Thoughts.
Well, hey, and
exactly.
by the way, what about this girl's credibility? Like, you know?
Has she pooped on someone before? That's what I want to know.
No, I believe if I heard the interview right, she couldn't do it. She said.
Oh, really?
By the way, whatever people are doing, you do what you got to do. Okay, what people do behind closed doors, nobody should care about. Okay, you got to do what you got to do.
Get your rocks
but
off.
when that story comes out, oh man, and it is just a runaway train.
Yeah, there's no defense for
it. You can't even. It's like that horse galloping where that lady's like trying to stop the horse. Or this weekend at the Kentucky Derby where Baffert caught one. It's like, and when that thing's running, and that train is going, there's nothing you can do. And this morning, Odell got hit by the choo-choo in that thing, man.
Get off the tracks.
Whew. That's
Poop
tough.
tracks.
Speaking of, this song's called Full Speed, which is what Odell's name was this morning on Twitter.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
That was tough. I felt bad for the guy.
That's what I mean, you know, anyone else, but you knew once Odell was connected to it, that's all people are going to talk about. They're going to take as many shots as they can. They're going to shit on him as much as they can.
See, the amount of those.
That's what I'm saying. It's just,
I mean, it's just a shitty situation for everybody.
he didn't deserve it.
Is that Ty saying this?
Yeah.
Not sincere.
No, I'm very sincere. I really don't like the precedent that this sets.
Well, this precedent has been set, I think, for a couple of years now on the internet.
Well, it definitely has been.
But this just so happens to mix a salacious story, big name player, and a guy that some people on the internet would love to see fail, which is not good.
Not us.
Ty's just holding out hope he's still coming to the Packers. That's all.
Oh, so you don't want to burn him down because if he ends up on the Packers, you'll be in an
No.
you'll be in quite a shitty spot.
Well, that's not happening. Gutekunst is a dipshit. He wouldn't, he wouldn't go near him. So that's not happening. I just, I mean, what is this girl like? Have the same credibility as Dan Rather? I mean, why we just fucking agree? She sounds a lot more like Brian Williams to me.
We got to get to a break. That guy was hanging off of a helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When he was taking bombs.
avoiding RPG fire.
He did one up AB though, so good for him.
I mean, I guess. Did he? I guess. Roethlisberger, he told tales of him all by himself.
Correct.
AB was a story where he was exploited for potentially,
Yeah.
fellatio. This particular story is just all alleged about doo-doo on himself. I mean, this is just shit that I don't like talking about.
Big Ben wasn't alone either. He had his, Lord and
Savior.
Savior Jesus Christ with him at all times.
Not whenever
Not
he
at that
was
point,
doing
no.
that. Jesus turned away.
The
pal.
devil was walking with him.
Yeah,
at
that was the
point.
devil, exactly. The devil was wasting those seeds on the floor or on the couch. Not on the couch, probably in a sock.
Yeah. A toilet. I feel like Big Ben.
But Ben doesn't deserve this still. Like, this is what's going to happen with Odell. This conversation about Odell is going to carry forever, and he does not deserve it.
Well, the thing about Big Ben Boner is that that's a true story, and Odell, we're still, we're still not sure with him.
That is true.
Well,
No fans in the stands. That's good news for him.
I got to play the next song. All right, we got to get to a break. We'll probably wrap up today around 1:30ish. Probably about 37 more minutes of the show. Gonna go on like a 5-minute break right now because I have to go.
Odell.
See, that's the shit we can't have happen.
Can't do it.
You're better than that.
Can't do it right there.
Come on. 10 push-ups.
Can't do it.
Got to hit the Odell Bathroom Jr.
53 minutes after the hour. Go to the bathroom. Do what you got to do. Okay. He does not deserve that. We don't know if that's true, by the way. This is
we don't.
This is one
But
of
it
the
could be.
I can't wait for Twitter to do one of their little fucking fact checks.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the content here has not been properly fact checked, so we will hide it and remove it from the internet.
You think he
Because
catches the shit with one hand or two hands?
Oh, come on. Probably one hand, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I don't even know how that would work. Honestly. I was so befuddled this morning. Because what was that one show, Billions or something, where the guys just get pissed on
Yes.
the first scene?
Which
I'm
is
like,
fine.
All right, I know what this show's about already. I know this isn't just a piss on a human scene or show, but I can already tell what this show's going to be like. And I had to get out of there. I just couldn't do it.
I've seen Church of Fudge. It's not a pretty sight.
Bro, like if my dog shits in the house,
Yeah.
like I almost puke.
Oh, yeah.
It might be the opposite for him.
2 Girls, 1 Cup there for like 3 years. I would gag just even the mention of it coming up.
See, that's probably what happened is some friend showed him that, and you're supposed to go, oh, and he probably went, oh.
That looks.
That was chocolate. That was chocolate milkshake.
was.
By the
No,
way.
it wasn't.
Chocolate
I
milkshake.
refuse to believe it.
That's how I got over it, by the way. Is I just framed it in my mind that wasn't actually poop, that they were just
Yeah,
guzzling.
no, looks like.
All right, this is the Pat McAfee Show, Big Sports Show. We're back on the other side. Jesus. This is Remember the Titans. How's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. I do a lot of things. Today I am a professional analyst getting ready for the Thursday night football opener in beautiful Nippert Stadium with the Cincinnati Bearcats here at Higher Ground. This secluded world. Good squad, good place. Excited for this morning practice. I'm obviously unbiased, but I'm pulling hard for Cincinnati to do well on Thursday night.
I like to say, all in clipboard quarterback. This is awesome. And we got hopefully a future NFL kicker. Let's see what you got. Come on.
This is great for the brand. This guy's an athlete. Athlete.
Let's go. We'll find out. Let's go. Heads up. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the hospitality. Have a great day. Let's go get
Going in, I'ma close the case. I can't wait no more, man. I gotta blow today. I'ma blow today. I ain't hearing what they say. Need a blue face. I've been caring about the race. I've been trying to eat. I need more than just a taste. Now they trying to talk. Oh no, they should know their place. Man, I'm ballin'. This ain't cap, baby. Now I feel like calling. From the O, but I got the music poppin'. All the time, man, it started get obnoxious. Now I gotta drop, yeah, I'm feeling nauseous. Gotta drop top down, then I hop out. I've been feeling hot now.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm up there.
Yeah, you got it.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you. This has been so cool to see. Whenever we were driving out here into the sticks,
My boys and I from Indianapolis. We were told by Coach Fickle it was a 40-minute drive from where we live. Absolute lie, hour and a half out here. But as we were getting out here, we didn't know what we were going to show up to. And this is such a cool scene here. I remember whenever I was in college, we won a lot of games, beat Cincinnati a couple times. It was a great day. But I remember my boys, right? Like I still am in touch with them every single day, every single week. We had this moment where we went from boys to become men. And you guys were a really young team last year, but got to experience a lot of wins. Like now the expectation level are high. And I can't wait to talk you all up on Thursday night against UCLA. UCLA refused to respond to my tweet. So I am a Bearcat fan on that opening night, and I cannot wait to watch you guys dominate. And I think this is such a cool thing. Coach, I can't thank you enough for your hospitality. I got a bunch of swag from you guys, too. This has been a cool day. Enjoy this, though. This doesn't happen a lot. Even when you get into the NFL, it's not like college. It's not like your boys. It's not like this. It's a whole different world that you'll remember forever. And I was honored to be here to watch you today, and I can't wait to watch you guys go win the thing on Thursday night and then throughout the rest of the season. Thank you so much. Cheers, boys. Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Maybe.
It's a defamation advocate.
I wish I had a. I wish I had like a. Like I could just turn this thing on.
Oh.
Because I can't see Jay, because Jay sits in the corner back there.
He's sleeping.
Hey, you want to turn it on? We can turn it on for you.
Who, you?
I mean, the button right there. We can pick a button over there. Oh, yeah.
What button? The button over yonder?
Yeah, we could rewire that.
So I can just turn it on?
Yeah, why not?
That feels like the right move. See, Jay has to turn the music all the way down for the music because I don't turn it off whenever I start it.
I love how we're fixing the show on the show.
That's the show. That's the show. We talked about this. Put a check mark on it. I'm done with it.
Oh, I put a poop next to it.
You were trying to force that poop emoji into that thing. All
Yeah, all day.
Yeah, you shoehorned it.
I forced that one out.
Yeah. We already talked about that. Duck Hodges was put on the practice squad for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ducky's still around in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ben Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, Josh Dobbs, who was previously there, comes back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mason Rudolph will be handling the job of looking like the other team's starting quarterback, which, by the way, last year he was an undefeated starting quarterback in the NFL. People forget. Phillip Rivers, starter in Indianapolis. Aaron Rodgers, starter in Green Bay.
Wow.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, starter in Miami.
Smart.
And the starter in New England, Cam Newton is captain up there. There's been quotes coming out now that Cam Newton and Bill Belichick are a perfect fit for each other. They love each other. Cam Newton has been saying all the right things to all of the media members. He gave an answer the other day. This isn't about me. This is about the team. This is about this. This is about that. What if Bill Belichick and Cam Newton are the best friends? What if they're the two best friends that anyone could have? What if that's what they are? What if that's what they are?
I mean, it's bad news.
What if Cam Newton and Bill Belichick had a sit down? Not unlike the one I assume Bill Belichick and Randy Moss had whenever they became besties. Not unlike the one that Bill Belichick and I would assume any other player other than Tom Brady had together. What if they had a conversation and Bill was like, listen, Cam, I want you to be you. Okay, I want you to. And Cam Newton's like, thank you. I just want to win games. And Bill's like, me too. You do however you got to do it. But there are some things I would like you to do that'll make everything just go a lot smoother. Just fucking pander to these media people. Just pander however you need to pander. Listen, it's still going to be about Cam. And listen, it should be about Cam. Okay, this should be about. This should be about you. Like, what if he goes into his entire thing? This should be about you because we go as you go. That's why you're named as a captain. That's why you've been first in, the last out. But whenever you're talking to the media, fuck them. Just say whatever you need to say to pander just to keep it moving. It's just so much easier. It's better for us. It's better for you. It's better for the team. What if he had that conversation with Cam Newton? And what if that conversation was one of Cam Newton was like, you know what? That is what I'll do. Sure. And I appreciate you doing that. Can I still dance? And Bill was like, dance all you want you to dance. Dab. Can I still dab? You can. Yeah, all the you do, Cam. We go as you go, pal. But when you're talking to the media, don't give them nothing. Okay? Don't give them nothing. Don't say a single thing. They don't deserve it from you. What if that's how Bill Belichick and Cam Newton ever related? Like, hey, this media that dumped on you for 86 days or whatever, don't give them anything. Just pander to them. Have you ever seen the way I handle mine? You don't have to do it that way, but do it in your own way. Just do whatever you got to do, and then we'll worry about all the football shit behind closed doors. Don't you even worry about it. What if that's what happened? Because Cam Newton and Bill Belichick seem to be working perfectly. And I'm not saying that Cam Newton never said anything that wouldn't be perfectly pandered to the media. I'm just saying everything that comes out of New England is normally perfectly pandered to the media. To not say anything, kind of just right there in the middle, kind of a boring answer. Let's keep it moving. That's how New England's always been. I wonder if there is a class or a meeting or somebody that speaks to the team. It's like, hey, this is how we do things here because we don't need the media fucking anything up. And if that happened with Cam and Bill, good on both of them just for being like, yep, this is how we're going to do it. Let's go win some games.
Can you imagine if Bill Belichick, when the offense scores, if all of a sudden, he's not just stagnant anymore and he's throwing fists and he's dancing on the sidelines as well because of Cam Newton?
Possible.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't think it'll happen though, because Belichick, I think, has it so hard engraved in his mind that like a touchdown isn't a celebration. Like this is just a part of it. Like that is the thing that I think from watching the NFL film shit on Bill, he doesn't even crack. Like it's not even a smile. It's not like he's, that Kanye thing where he's smiling and he notices the camera's on him as he gets upset. Like Bill Belichick getting a first down, getting 4 yards, scoring a touchdown in the first, second, third quarter, like that's all just a part of it. Like, yeah, hey, we have to do this to win the game. Like, and that I think is something that is completely ingrained in his head. But for Cam, if Cam celebrates, let's go. So I don't know if we'll see Bill fucking celebrating with Cam. If we do, awesome, legendary. But I feel like that is so deep in Belichick's brain. It's like, yeah, like this has to happen. Like a touchdown has to happen for us to score, which once you start looking at things that way, can be a bit depressing, by the way.
Well, especially when every year the expectations are, AFC championship or bust. So, like, until you get to that point, it's...
Remember Mac Brown said that when he was coaching at Texas, the pressure was so big that whenever he would win, it was a relief. And when he would lose, it was devastating. Yeah. So there was like no happiness anymore in coaching. I wonder if this potentially, like Mac Brown got reset from leaving a game doing media and going to North Carolina. He's reestablished himself. North Carolina's ranked in the top 20 right now. They got a sophomore quarterback. A team that was once completely irrelevant in football is now back into the grand scheme of things whenever it comes to college football. What if this has been the reset that Belichick needed, like Mac needed one, and he's back fucking, hey, boys, here we go. Let's go.
Well, now that Brady and Giselle, that cloud is away from Foxborough. It's I feel like all systems go. Everyone's happy.
You're a scumbag.
Question for you.
Well said. You don't have to bury one person and put up somebody else, okay?
I wasn't burying him. It's just the truth.
You definitely buried him.
Storm cloud.
I mean, Giselle's Johnny fucking Foxborough in his ear. I mean, what do you want? What do you want from him?
No, everybody else is saying that, and Giselle said, "I don't want that anymore." You can lift up both sides here.
Can we be positive, Connor?
6 Super Bowls, both of them together.
The Buccaneers are going to do great. They're definitely going to beat the Saints. They're going to have a great season, boys.
Oh, the Saints. You think they're in trouble? Why? Because Epidural's on their starting running backs back?
No, because they got 2 quarterbacks. They got Jimmy Winston. You got 2 quarterbacks. You got no quarterbacks.
Turns out he's actually the third string on the behind Taysom.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, they got Taysom too?
Yeah.
This Sean Payton guy's a savage. Last year, have a chance to play Taysom Hill, the guy you said Steve Young in the future? Nah. Put in Teddy Bridgewater. Let's let him get $20 million a year. We'll pay Taysom Hill $8 and $9 million or whatever to be our guy. He's going to be backup quarterback because he's our guy for the future. But Jameis has a chance to prove himself around here. Jameis has a chance to prove himself around here. We're only paying him $1 million.
Question for you. So Cam's been there exactly 2 months now, and everything's fine and dandy. This is the honeymoon period. What happens if they say lose to the Dolphins and Seahawks weeks 1 and 2? You think Bill still?
I think Bill Belichick will have to tell Cam the mindset that New England has. It seems like New England never gets rattled by early losses or even terrible performances, like bad football games. They have played some bad football games.
Ugly.
The Titans a couple years ago, I remember down in Tennessee, Vrabel. Because I fucking bet them so large. I think that was my first massive loss in sports gambling. I was betting the Patriots second half over every single week. I was like, listen, at halftime, Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, and Tom Brady are going to fucking figure it out, and in the second half, they're going to hammer this team. Every single week. I think I was like 7-8 weeks of just like, I found the bet. I have found the home run bet, and I was going big, big. And then they get to Tennessee somehow, and everything just shits the bed, and I lose massive amounts. I bet the money line every single week, and then that second half over. And it was like my nice little, I was just getting broken off by the Patriots. Very thankful for them. Then they go down to Tennessee and just shit the bed all over themselves. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And they have the ability to do that. But they're a team that's so resilient. So resilient. And that's the culture, by the way. But have they lost too many players from the culture?
Ooh.
Not only Kyle Van Noy get broken off down in Miami within the division, and now they got Ryan Fitzpatrick, the New England Patriot killer, alongside Eli Manning coming in there week one.
Yeah. Hell no.
Not only did they lose Patrick Chung and a bunch of other players for sitting out, not only did they lose Tom Brady, I mean, they lost Philip Dorsett, they lost a lot of players.
Yeah.
Is the culture still there? Will the culture always be there when McCourty's there, whenever Bill Belichick's there and Ernie's there? I would assume yes, but that culture is what you fall on whenever you have little troubled times. They always say in those big pressure moments, you fall on your fundamentals. And in those terrible moments, you always fall on your culture. And I think in New England, they have both of those fucking figured out. Yep. And I would assume that they're going to have to tell Cam Newton, hey, this happens. We ain't worried about this. We're on to next week.
And we start slow. Historically, 2-2 the year we got blown out against Kansas City. The first 4 games are usually a trial period, and then we turn it on.
Well, we got to learn what team we are first.
Find our strengths.
The cavalry is not coming over the hill, though, says Tom E. Curran. Tom E. Curran, NBC insider in Boston for the New England Patriots. He was gloom and doom on Friday about the Patriots team after watching them in training camp. The cavalry isn't coming over the hill in October. That team stinks, he said. That's what he said. He said that team stinks. And Connor goes, no, I trust Bill Belichick. I don't trust you, Tom. And Tom goes, let me cradle Connor's face right now. Let me cradle his face and tell him that the team stinks, he says. I don't believe it. I won't believe it.
Because do you really think that Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels are showing all the media what we're going to do on offense or anything like that? I mean, come on. It's Cam Newton.
Did you guys decide not to show anybody last year what you were going to do on offense either? Just the entire season? You know what? Hey, let's not show anything.
No.
Tom Brady's potentially a free agent. Let's suck this year on offense.
We showed him too much. That's why we started off 8-0.
Jess.
Yeah, but it wasn't the offense. It was the defense that was winning those games.
True.
Special teams.
Defense, special teams, literally block punts winning them games. And then came the moment where Tom says, I need you to be faster. I need you to be more explosive. I need you to fucking catch a football. I need you to play wide receiver better on sideline. And that was after they cut Antonio Brown and all the other. The offense was never really the thing last year. And maybe that's because they were trying to bury Tom Brady to only get $25 million a year. I mean, Desean Watson getting $40 million a year. Patrick Mahomes getting up there, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady's getting $25 million a year forever. That guy's been underpaid, and I think last year was potentially because the Patriots are out to get him.
Well, I mean, the thing is too about last year,
especially now that the book comes out and says 2017, everybody knew he was done.
Well, he didn't have his immunity pills though last year. Now that he has those, I mean, he's a whole new player.
Hey, you live by the Patriot way, you die by the Patriot way. Wow.
Bill told McDaniels not to call good plays last year. Hey, we're getting Tom out of here.
Hey, Tom's going to stay. Let's lower his value as
Keep running the screen. Keep running the screen.
Who knows? Keep running the screen.
Just run screens.
And then we'll just say nobody can get open, but we'll work on it next week, and we won't. We actually fucking won't work on it.
Don't throw it more than 10 yards. Make everyone think that Tom can't throw it more than 10 yards.
Massive for the brand news out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I believe it was 5 months ago.
Give or take.
5 months ago, as soon as I heard that Dustin Colquitt was being released from the Kansas City Chiefs after being there for like 17 years or something like that, he's been there forever. I automatically assumed, do we have the video of that? No. I automatically assumed that Dustin Colquitt would be going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that was only because any time the Pittsburgh Steelers play, because I'm from Pittsburgh and I retired with some juice still left in my leg at the punter position, and was voted punter of the decade, and I have a lot of friends in Pittsburgh still. Anytime the Steelers played, and Jordan Berry, who has a massive leg, maybe the biggest leg I've ever seen in person, whenever he connected on a football. I used to watch Jordan Berry, big Aussie fella who punted for the Steelers for the last 5 years. I used to watch him in warm-ups hit balls that I was like, holy fuck. And then I'd watch him hit balls that wouldn't go anywhere. And it's kind of one of those things where when you're a home run hitter, I would assume there's potentially a lot of strikeouts. So what I think for Jordan Berry is he's always been inconsistent, but when he hits that big ball, everybody goes, damn, that is the possible. We can get to that. But when you're in Pittsburgh, especially with how windy it is, and in the AFC North, there's a lot of things that potentially go into a factor on whether or not you can hit a massive ball. I think Jordan Berry will get another job in the NFL somewhere. I hope he finds a place that has better weather, better conditions, because whenever he punts a ball and he gets a hold of it, it is an absolute show. But it doesn't seem to be happening as often as it should in Pittsburgh. And anytime the Steelers played, I get 15 to 20 tweets about people wanting me to come punt because for some reason his drop would either turn inside because of wind or whatever. So I knew that the Steelers were potentially a spot that was going to be looking at a punter. When I heard they were working out Dustin Colquitt, I knew they were going to sign him. And as soon as Dustin Colquitt was cut from the Chiefs, I go, let's assume Colquitt ends up at the Steelers because I think his dad was a part of 2 Super Bowls in Pittsburgh, and he's one of the most consistent punters in the history of football. He's a stud. This is a big pickup for the Steelers and hopefully a new spot for Jordan Berry to showcase his cannon of a donkey leg.
Yeah, to your point, Jordan Berry's always been fine at the beginning of the season, but like 2 of the last 3 weeks last year, he shanked one against the Bills with the game that we were at in a huge spot, went like 10 yards, and then in the last game against the Ravens, he dropped one in the rain and then got his soul taken from him, and then the Ravens scored a touchdown literally on that play.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that was when I was getting a lot of tweets. Yeah. See, those particular moments were moments I was getting a lot of tweets on. But people are calling me Matt Groening, saying that I'm fucking seeing the future and all that stuff. I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty
How
good
do you
about
combat those conditions? Like
Okay, here you go. So you hold on to the ball longer. Okay, so anytime you see a punter that has a high drop and the ball free falls a lot, you can automatically assume that they are not going to do great if there's any weather conditions. So if you hold on to the ball longer and drop it lower, then there's less room for air and wind, literal air and error of the ball moving. So Dustin Colquitt holds the ball basically and kicks it out of his hand. That's why he's always been good in freezing cold Kansas City. That's why he's been always good in wind. That's why Jordan Berry, him being on the Steelers for as long as he was very surprising to me because that is not a division where you can drop the ball from a high spot, which, by the way, you drop it higher, your leg has more room to get through it so you can hit these moon shots. If you hold on to it a little bit longer, you got to drop it lower. So Dustin Colquitt won't hit the big ball that Jordan Berry hits, but he won't hit the small ball that Jordan Berry hits either. Inconsistency is how you get rich in the game of NFL punting because there's a lot of people that have massive legs. A lot of people. You can go to any kicking camp and you'll see a motherfucker with a massive leg. I mean, when I was 16, 17 years old, I was kicking 70-yard field goals and I was punting. If I wanted to punt a ball, I could hit a ball forever. But the consistency thing is what you get paid from. And normally those guys who drop the ball high or potentially have a lot of free fall, it's not a lot of consistency because the ball can move and it's not their fault. It's mostly what's happening in the air. That's why punting is like this much of a make or break. And nobody even knows how hard it is. So holding on to the ball longer, dropping it lower, and having a little bit more control on said drop, which is the most important part of the entire thing. Obviously, you have to have a little bit of a leg. That is the most important thing. And that's why Dustin Colquitt's going to do so good there because he holds on to that summit. Sam Cook for the Baltimore Ravens, he punts that thing out of his hand, basically. I mean, there's different stuff. Thomas Morstead, he'll hang on to that ball for as long as he possibly can. For me, I'm not as flexible, so that was a little bit difficult because, my hand and leg don't match up. Yep. But that is a big-time thing that Jordan Berry did not do that I was very impressed that he lasted as long as he did, especially in that world. I was like, I don't know how the fuck he's still hitting the ball. I'd be so scared if I was him, by the way, because I used to drop the ball like that, and then I ran into some weather, and I was just so bad. And I remember in warm-ups, like the mental battles that Jordan Berry had to be going through in warm-ups, I do not miss those. Like every once in a while, I'll be like, do I want to ever go back into the game? Do I ever want to get back into the game? And I'll be like, maybe on my motorcycle or on my car or whatever, and I'll look at a flag, and the flag's just sitting and I'll never forget, like, Sunday mornings waking up and looking at my hotel room and looking at another hotel that has, like, a flag on top of it, and those flags just being completely fucking erect or whatever, and just being like, today's going to suck. And then just for 5-6 hours there, you just got to hope that you don't catch a wind gust on your drop because it can be ugly. It can be very, very ugly.
Fun fact, now that the Steelers have a former Pro Bowl at punter, they now have a former Pro Bowler at every single position group. So,
you guys feel real good, huh?
I do.
Colquitt made a Pro Bowl. He was my the year I retired. I opted out or whatever.
Oh, he was the...
He went that year, yeah. So I think he's been a couple times now.
Twice.
Yeah, he's been voted and he went the year. He sent me a text. He was like, hey, you're not going, but I am getting another Pro Bowl trip. I'm like, hey, dude. He did a golf swing out there when he dropped one. He's very good. Colquitt is very excited. Very, very good.
And there won't be any holding issues, right, since he's been in the league for so long?
Great holder. He wears 2 gloves, I think. which is interesting for the holding part. He's a lefty, too. Lefties are always so much smoother, man. It feels like in everything, lefties are just smoother. And, the ball turns over the opposite direction. So the Patriots did it for so long, so it's got to mean something. You know what I mean? It's got to mean something. I'm happy. I think Jordan Berry, if he lands in another spot, a little bit better weather, look at
Jacksonville. Send him down there.
They're going to be punting a lot.
A little breezy down there in Jacksonville.
Oh, really?
A little breezy down there in Jacksonville. Ball flies down there, though. Humidity, I always liked. I liked heavy humidity or elevation.
Why is that? Oh, elevation.
I just felt like the ball floated longer in humidity, and that might have been completely my dumbass mind. Like, oh, the air's thicker, the whole lucky. Oh, the ball's gonna fucking fly today. It's humid. You see how fat this ball is, and the air's thicker. Oh, it's gonna fly forever today.
I would think the humidity would push it down.
Well, if it wasn't for the wind in my face, I wouldn't be able to fly. But you put that wind behind you, fly a lot fucking faster. You know what I mean?
Plus, the ball gets a little wet up there from the humidity. It's a little slippery.
I like heavy ball, too. Like rain, I always did well in the rain because it felt like the ball was a little bit heavier. It might beat people with smaller legs, but for me, I felt like the heavier it was, if I can get this thing going, it'll go further. And these are all mental things that happen to try to convince yourself that everything's completely okay.
Does your leg speed change? Like when it's raining and stuff like that? Like
leg speed?
Yeah.
No, leg speed only changes with like age, I think. But leg speed was my big thing.
Yeah.
So I had crazy leg speed. I didn't have a lot of flexibility. So Colquitt has great flexibility. His technique is perfect. His fundamental, and he'll end with his leg like up over his head. He's like him and his brother, by the way, have like perfect form. Just like me. It was just we are swinging as hard as we fucking can. We are swinging as hard as we can. And by the way, that's why my knee almost got ripped off like a fucking chicken wing a few times. And theirs are just like completely smooth. So
Clay Matthews.
Leg speed, leg speed kind of changes as you get tired, which is, by the way, the punters that don't leave the ground when they punt, I always think towards the end of the year don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And that potentially happens for some punters on teams that are in this room right now.
Yeah.
What's that, Ty?
That guy was great the first 4 weeks this season. He was kind of dog shit after that. But, to your point, that seemed like that's what happened.
See, he doesn't leave the ground, though. So his J.K. Scott, for instance, great punter. Fucking great punter. Watching him in Alabama was a lot of fun. The guy hits bombs, right? He won a game for Green Bay last year.
Yeah.
But I was always very intrigued by the fact that he doesn't leave the ground, really. It's all just a one-leg move. I'm not strong enough to do that. I needed my entire body to jump and get in there. But by late in the year, I would even be tired, so you would see me trying to jump even more to get through it. For those people that don't jump and it's just strictly one-leg operation, I don't know how they stay as strong throughout the entire year. And their leg speed slows down. And if your leg speed slows down, then you potentially hit a ball fat, which means it doesn't turn over. So not only does it fly shorter because you're not hitting the ball as hard as it is, but now you're not even hitting it as clean, so it has no chance. I mean, that can really happen. There's a lot of fucking shit into play now that I'm thinking about it all.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see, like, from those first couple weeks, like, how much he was losing in explosivity towards the end of it. And, like, I mean, if you never punt, you have no idea, like, why it's like that, but when you think about that, it's like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what was happening.
Yeah, it's just one leg. Like, hey, all right, we're banking all on this to do perfect every single time. It's like, what if you get a little strain? You get a little strain in there, you're in trouble. See, I used to be able to battle through, a lot of things because it was an entire body operation. My entire body was fighting for that thing.
Hell yeah.
I used to jump. But then I had to dial it back because I was starting to get a bit inconsistent. I was like, it was as if somebody was crow hopping in the batter's box. But boy, when I hit it,
that's all.
When I hit it,
going to the moon.
You should have seen when I was at those kicking camps and I would get a hold of a couple of those. People would be like, whoa, holy shit. I hit a ball down at Pitt's practice field that is still going. Hey, that was the biggest ball I've ever hit, Nick. How hungover? No, we're still.
I was asleep on the field, but I saw that ball. Big one.
We fucking got after it in Pittsburgh. And I completely forgot I was supposed to go to a kicking camp the next morning. So I got like a text. It was like, hey, you still coming here? I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way or whatever. And we were just waking up, So I wake up Nick. I'm like, hey, we got to go, man. He's like, where? Like, we just got home like an hour or two ago. It's like, we got to go. So we go to this kicking camp. It's at Pitt's practice facility. And I'm trying to stay away from like it's a bunch of college kids. I'm trying to stay away from all the college kids because I obviously
reek.
Smell like a brewery.
I mean, it was still quite a night or whatever. So I was like, I'm gonna go warm up over here. I never warm up. So I was just like trying to figure out how to warm up, but then I was almost puking during the warm up. And then it got to like the kicking part. And I was like, all right, I'll come do this. And people kind of got to stay away, a little social distance. I hit a couple balls during that thing that I would assume people left there and was like,
what the fuck is McAfee on? I hit some ball. I thought I put a hole in the roof of the UPMC practice facility. I mean, it was still, to this day, the biggest ball I've ever hit in my life. And I was 45 minutes of sleep, potentially, and I crow hopped into it. I mean, it was an entire thing. And it'd be really cool if I could have done that every single time. But it's just a little inconsistent,
You ever think about, maybe swigging a bottle?
There it is.
The game,
Nigel.
Swing loop. Hey, little swing loop.
No, I never wanted to do that. I never wanted there to be a reason for me to fuck up. Because once you did, it was like college. If I ever showed up to practice hungover or whatever in the spring or fall, whenever, and those were always my best days. Because if you do bad those days, everybody's going to call you an alcoholic and tell you can't do anything. So if they know, like if they could, I can see it in your eyes, McAfee, you had a night last night. It's like, no, I was in. If they know and you do bad, then you're in trouble. But those days where you show up, it's like Jordan, game 6, you got to lock in. Can't be calling out. Can't be locked in my house for the next 3 years, okay? Got to be able to still be able to do this. Clear those eyes out, kid. Hit the ball big. Turns out, all the times I fucked up, normally when I was like trying to take care of myself too much. I got into yoga one time, ball stopped flying. I was like, oh, done stretching.
Done with that.
Hey, where's the pizza? Get back in there.
Another for the brand news, what do you think about the Colts' decision to go with...
Yeah, this is interesting because Chase McLaughlin came in and relieved Adam Vinatieri last year whenever it was determined late in the year, probably later than anybody else would have, hindsight, liked. He came from the Niners to relieve Vinatieri whenever he had to get surgery, and he had a good year for the Colts last year. Made a lot of kicks. Had a good year for the Niners, too. Made a lot of kicks. I assume he's going to get signed by somebody because he's very good. And when Hot Rod was Rodrigo Blankenship, by the way, for those that don't know, respect to spec. Whenever he was down at Georgia, I got a chance to watch him in the SEC championship game. I got to watch his whole warm-up, his whole routine, everything about him. And he was very mature in his process. Like, he had more pre-kick workouts and warm-ups than I ever had. So, and those are things that you kind of collect. So it was very interesting because you think like, oh, does he overthink things too much? Or are these things that actually make him a better kicker? Then you start looking at his stats. The guy hit like a 55-yarder in the national championship. Like, he is a stud. So it's like, okay, this is how this guy does things. And he's very, very, very good. He wears specs because I think he has some sort of degenerative eye thing going on. So he wears the specs. I mean, he is loved down in Georgia. I think he's got a picture of Quavo at certain occasions. I mean, he is beloved in Georgia. So when the last day of the draft came along and he was supposed to get drafted, he and I were supposed to do an ESPN NFL IG Live FaceTime or IG Live together where I was going to interview him about his thoughts before he gets drafted, okay? And my entire conversation with him was going to be like, hey, because I was told I was going to get drafted and I didn't get drafted, and I think that happens to a lot of guys. So my IG Live conversation on ESPN NFL with him was going to be like, hey, if you don't get drafted, like, that's only the beginning. Like, that was actually going to be like, it doesn't matter if you get drafted, if you get into a camp, if you make kicks, that's all that matters. Like, enjoy today, don't let anything. And then I didn't have enough connection, internet at my house, so I couldn't even fucking connect, so I couldn't even do it, so I had to cancel on him. So then we sent a couple messages back and forth, and I sent him that message. I was like, hey, no matter what happens, you go. So he ends up at the Colts. I'm like pumped for him, but I know that Chase McLaughlin is that's going to be a tough job to get there. Everybody was like, oh, he's going to take the job. It's like, this dude's really good at making kicks. And then there was a couple reports that came out of practice that Hot Rod missed a few and Chase didn't. So there was no real accurate judge, I think, because you didn't have a preseason game. You didn't get to see any of the practices. There was really nothing going on. So I had no idea what was going to happen, but I'm happy for Hot Rod. I mean, I'm very happy. He kicks the ball very well. He doesn't have to kick off, I don't think, because Rigoberto Sanchez, on my IG yesterday, I did a photo or a question thing, and somebody asked me who the most underrated punter in the NFL is. And I said the Scottish Hammer from Cleveland, because he's in the AFC North, it's tough, and he's got a massive. Rigoberto Sanchez, I forgot about, for the Indianapolis Colts, should make a Pro Bowl this year. He punts exactly like I do. Very boring. Like, we're going to get a lot of fair catches. We're going to eliminate the return. We're not just going to be hammering balls long. He also does the kickoffs. He's very good at that. So Hot Rod's in a great spot. Luke Rhodes, Rigoberto Sanchez, veteran group, got a chance to work with Vinatieri. I'm happy for him. I'm pumped for him. But if he misses kicks, he's going to be gone. I mean, that's just the way. Hey, that's just kicking, baby. That is kicking in the NFL. If you miss kicks, you are gone. So I'm pumped for him, but I don't want to put too much, because I haven't seen him make a kick. Right. Because the preseason hasn't even happened. Now, up in New England, here's a very interesting thing.
Boy.
What are the kickers' names?
Justin Rohrwasser and Nick Folk.
Okay, so they get rid of Gostkowski. Gostkowski had to have surgery, so he was hurt last year. So all the New England Patriot fans that were going after him, the guy was fucking limping on the field, basically a dying man, and you guys were attacking him, which is classic masshole move.
Give him a break.
Give him a break. He gets sent out of town. He's now down at the Titans, I believe, with Vrabel and Jadeveon Clowney. So good for him getting back healthy. But they draft this dude from Marshall. Great kicker, Marshall. The internet explodes because he's got something,
couple tattoos.
A tattoo that is very suspect, I guess. He has to remove those tattoos. Then during camp, they bring in Nick Folks. Everybody's like, does this guy stink? So now they're getting to a spot where we're in game week and they haven't said who's starter, who's not starter. Let me tell you why I think the Patriots are doing that for the brand. So Nick Folks made kicks. He's made game winners for the Jets. He's made game winners for the Patriots. I think he's played in a Super Bowl. I'm not 100% sure. He's played in big games, though. He's made kicks, storied career, very good kicker. This guy, new guy, haven't got a chance to see him in a game in preseason. He played at Marshall, which, by the way, they might be one of the best teams in football this year. They fucking blew somebody out, but not big game, right? That's not really big game stuff for Marshall. Even though in your head, the biggest games are the biggest games. You can't really make anything too pressure packed on yourself. I think this week they're keeping both on the team for him to continue to have to compete and prove himself going into this week. Because if you don't have preseason games where you can put a little pressure on somebody and you don't have that type of shit, how else do you do it? Let's keep a vet in-house. Let's have them compete all the way up to it and see if he can prove himself. And if he stinks, you just go to Nick Folk. That's just the way it goes.
Is it weird that they didn't leave a roster spot for one of them, that one of those guys in the 53 knows that he's not going to be on the active roster when the season starts?
Well, and it might be an IR move like Tampa Bay Buccaneers did with to sign A.Q. Shipley, which took a lot of trust there as well, from what I've been told. According to my sources, it was like, hey, we're going to sign you back here in the next couple days, though.
Oh, Jay, come on.
What was that?
Jay's getting a little...
See, I can't even see him.
Oh, he's hiding. He's
hiding in the corner. But yeah, I think that is something where they're trying to put a little pressure on the guy. See what we got going on.
Nick Folk last year for New England was 14 of 17.
Good kicker. Chase, check out what Chase was in Indy, because that was a big decision. Going with Hot Rod, undrafted, free agent, rookie, hasn't had a chance to play in a preseason game. Picking him over a guy who's been around in a lot of different places and was kicking the ball pretty well, I believe.
Yeah, to your point on Twitter, the only thing you saw was like Chase McLaughlin 6 for 6 today. Hot Rod 3
1
of 6.
for 5.
Yeah, exactly.
He was Chase in Indy was 5 of 6, 2 of 2 from 50 plus.
He made some big fucking kicks last year when he came in. By the way, terrible spot to be in. He legitimately replaced out of Vinatieri. So everybody's saying Hot Rod's taking over for Vinny because Vinny's been a starter for however long for the start of season. But that particular one was very like. He must be bombing the ball in practice. Like, he must be very, very good. That's a big decision. 22 years straight, though, and undrafted free agents on the final roster for the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh.
He's the one this year.
Love that.
Longest in the NFL, I do believe. All right, we got to get out of here. I have a call in 11 seconds that is rather important to tomorrow and everything else we got popping off. We'll catch up with all this manana. Baseball, what's going on? Novak Djokovic hit a lady right in the choke, right in the throat with a tennis ball at about, 80, 90 miles an hour.
Yep.
That guy, I guess, has all the personality down there.
Yeah.
He's not scared to be.
parties.
Yeah, he was throwing COVID parties.
He had a COVID party.
Well, then I guess somebody's come after him before for breaking his racket. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, well, I'm the only one that gets mad? Yeah. I love it. What do you got to do what you got to do? Just not kill a lady. This dude's made $19 million in the last month. Good for him. And the NBA is still happening. I think we potentially have Steve Kerr joining us this week. Aaron Rodgers coming on the show tomorrow, 1:15. Kyle Rudolph, Big Country from the Minnesota Vikings, joining us Thursday. I believe Steve Kerr will be joining us. And we're on Sirius XM Mad Dog Radio. Channel 82 starting tomorrow. We'll be back on YouTube. 19,371 concurrent viewers. I have no idea why you watch this show, but we appreciate the hell out of you. From myself, Diggs, Connor, Ty, Jason, who's just been finger fucking around, Zito, Foxy, Mansuri, Gumpy, Nick, Billy Tubes, and everybody else from our office. We appreciate the hell out of you. We will see you mañana. I am 1 minute late. Golly. That's a shitty situation. That's the show.